All right. The last thing I'm gonna do, and it's very unorthodox. It was not planned, but I love the way the conversation is going and flowing here on the show. I really want to close this out on a very unorthodox but cool note. There's a bonus topic that I have in mind. Zay, I was gonna give us the option to kind of like choose, and maybe I would do that. But there's one thing I really do want to hit on, and that's a Deion Sanders conversation. I want to just briefly hit on that real quickly here. I want to, Zay, if you can bring up that report about the Grand Theft Auto real quickly here on Google. I want to bring up that report and kind of like talk about that real quickly here. And while Zay is doing that, make sure y'all like and subscribe. We're going to give y'all about 5 more minutes of content here, 5 to 7 minutes, depending on how this conversation goes. There was a report that dropped. Zay, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah. Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler,
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, Mile High
Ain't got nothing
Sports
to do with
Radio.
you. It's above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
All right.
Joe
Ain't got
Rigo,
nothing
Mile High
to do with
Sports.
you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I respect you. I got love for you. But what they did was fine.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we have a Deion. I think Deion Sanders is great for college football. I think he's great for Colorado. I think so. So a lot of that report, and I did some extensive research on that. The reporter that reported that, he didn't quote a lot of names. He said he talked to a lot of players, but he didn't quote a lot of names. And the other thing that struck me about it was you had all of these players were former players that had transferred out of Colorado. So they this that and that. Hey, is it gambling in college locker rooms? Absolutely. Is it other things where a fight break out? Absolutely. But you're talking about the same guy who will throw you out of a meeting if you're 5 minutes early. He'll throw you out of a meeting. You're talking about the same guy that if you wear your socks too low, he'll throw you out of practice. Do you think that same guy with that has that structure and that discipline will knowingly put up with those type of things? I just think it's much to do about nothing. And I think, there are a lot of people that dislike Deion Sanders. And look, you have your likes and dislikes. I think he's great for college football. I think people are underestimating Colorado's football team. A lot of people look at the statistics from last year and say Colorado was this, that, or the other. Pay attention to Colorado this year. They're at least an 8-win team this year. And I'm the first one to say it. So I read the whole Grand Theft Auto stuff.
Yeah, Zay, if you can, for people who's listening to the show that probably don't even know that report exists, because you can barely find it, first of all, in mainstream media when it comes to certain people, they tend to hide
yeah,
stuff.
They didn't pick it up because it wasn't verifiable. That's why it's hard to find. If someone made that report, and, if it was true, you would have had that plastered all over. But if you're doing a lot of anonymous stuff, the mainstream media is not going to pick that up.
But there's a lot of scenarios where things wasn't verified, and in sports content flows, especially around this time of the calendar, and it's like buzzing before we even know. So I don't really think that really is the impact here. But Zay, if you want to kind of like read the article real quickly here, and then I could give my take, and then you could as well.
Basically it's saying an anonymous player told Athlon Sports report said that it's like a real life Grand Theft Auto video game. There are many distractions with fights, guns, and money floating around. The environment is unlike any I've come from before. Now listen, after hearing that, just reading that, hearing that, I already know what kind of reporter this is. I already know the narrative they're trying to spin on this. And it's already a negative connotation to what Deion Sanders means to this team, the Colorado, and the players on Colorado. You're essentially tanking guys' profiles off the rip because you're insinuating that there's something illegal going on within these walls in the college football program that creates a harmful and hostile environment for everyone there. Why guns, money? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
Talking about Grand Theft Auto, bro. What's funny?
Money fights, Grand Theft Auto video. What are we saying here? That it's absolutely. And on top of that, and Lil, I know you said like sometimes things get put under wraps, like if they try to hide the story. if it had any truth to it, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Absolutely.
There would have been flooding everywhere. That would have been everywhere on ESPN. Just a thought, because everything Deion Sanders says is box office, good or bad. It goes everywhere. It's plastered everywhere, no matter what. And the fact that this hasn't gotten any attention whatsoever from ESPN, Bleacher Report, not even on Fox Sports, not a single soul in the world has even mentioned this. It's not because
the Laboratory show on the ESPN, they actually had a reporter that gave more insight. That actually did, but once again, you can't find that, ironically, when it's an ESPN show. So that's my point, because there's literally a show. Dan Laboratory, he had a guy that came on that joint. You can't find that joint. I saw it.
Listen, I just don't think there's any credibility to it. I think
it was the guy that reported the action, did the article about the Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and it got no steam. But look, this is my point. I just want to jump in here quickly here. Look, I don't know. Clearly, we don't know if that joint is verified yet.
Yep.
But one thing we have is the response that Deion Sanders gave to that reporter, which I thought was very unprofessional.
Yep.
Unprofessionalism at the highest of levels. We already know, and it's evident. Go back and watch the tape. You already know that I have an epiphany with Deion Sanders once he left the HBCU to go to the PWI, and I thought he painted himself as a HBCU hero at that point in time, and then he told the NFL to draft more HBCU guys, but yet he left the HBCU to seek PWI opportunity. Don't teach if you don't practice what you preach. Another thing that I have a problem with too is, all right, so you talk about the Grand Theft Auto culture, drugs, guns, whatever. Would anybody here disagree that that's rap culture? Would anybody disagree that drugs, guns, women, fights is rap culture?
That's what people perceive
hip-hop
as
culture.
rap culture and black culture.
Yeah, well, yeah, some people think that's narratives. That's narratives.
But that both of them go, in my opinion, both of them go hand in hand.
But that doesn't, that doesn't represent that doesn't represent every black home.
Absolutely.
There's some people that go to Harvard, and go to college like myself and get a degree, right? Absolutely. But I get it, the negative connotation, the black community as well, based on outside. But with hip hop, there's no defending that. It's clear. It's hip hop. It's guns, music. Women, strippers. I mean, they twerking in the daggone videos. It's clear. There's no connotation there. It's in your face, literally. Okay. Now, my point being is that Deion Sanders has a culture at the University of Colorado where you have that type of environment, where he has rappers like Lil Wayne and company that comes to the program. I remember Ryan Garcia, and this is really what turned off my antennas. He was going through that phase. I mean, still going through it. The guy, his guy's losing his mind. But he was at that very phase with all this stuff going on. If you follow boxing, you knew this guy was going through a lot, saying a lot of stuff, racism, a lot of stuff he was on, coke or whatever. And he invited this guy to the college campus around students. I get it. When you get to 21 and you drink or whatever, you go to the bar, typical college stuff. But some of these guys are still young guys, and you having that type of guy going through everything he's going through, that's not good. This guy is clearly coked up and doped up, and you allow him to come in that campus and hang out with the players. My point being is the culture you set. And I don't think that this report, I'm not saying it's true or not true. I can have an opinion, but it's not far-fetched based on the culture that Deion Sanders has installed in the program.
I disagree. Leel, they have the highest grade point average, college grade point average in Colorado history in the last 20 years. The players.
Look, that could be true. Listen. There was times where I was hanging out and going to the bar at freaking 3 o'clock in the morning. I was in class at 6 o'clock in the daggone morning, bro.
You can't have that. You can't have that and have this culture.
And come on, we're not gonna act like they don't fix student athletes' grades too.
No,
we just gonna act like that, bro. Trust me, I went to school. I know that joint exists.
So we're gonna insinuate everything is.
I seen it.
With Colorado,
I ain't a snitch, but I seen it.
Players, Travis Hunter has a 4.0 grade point average. Travis Hunter.
Listen,
so that what I'm saying is you can't reconcile Deion being the most disciplined coach that'll throw you out of practice if your socks are too low, and a coach that mandates that you go to class and will bitch
Yeah.
you
And we'll bring a coked up, doped up Ryan Garcia to campus to hang out with a bunch of teens.
Ryan Garcia.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. Now,
This guy clearly lost his mind, you know.
Listen, it's just been at it for years. People have been trying to discredit Deion Sanders since the HBCU.
It's not even about discrediting. It's about
they're trying to match what he does in the press conferences to who he is as an individual and trying to mesh it together like he's this negative impact on.
No. Let me be clear. Deion is about Deion, and that's evident. If any move showed you anything, if you don't know that by now, then clearly this guy's like Jesus to you. Because clearly you can look at that guy and his actions and tell that Deion is all about Deion.
All coaches about themselves, Leel. I mean, stop it. All coaches about themselves. Nick Saban is like that. Nick Saban is the most narcissistic person I've ever met, but he's a winner.
We trying to win games. That hip hop culture that you're bringing to the university, them funny characters that's out here coked up and doped up that you having around teenagers and college. Come on, bro.
Stop it, Leel.
Come on,
I love come back and talk.
I believe that report. I believe that report.
Leel, it's obvious you got a little something against Deion for leaving.
I mean, I admitted that. I do. I said it when he left the HBCU. It exposed me to how he really is.
It also exposed Deion Sanders to D1 Colorado.
When he brought all them players in that portal, it was like 51. And everybody was out here celebrating. Oh, he brought 51 players to the portal, but not thinking about it. Oh, well, those are people that's leaving HBCUs. Okay, those are people that's leaving historically black colleges because we too self-centered when it comes to guys we idolize. Leel. It trumps everything. It trumps logic.
The Jackson State president confirmed that Deion told him he was going to give him 3 years. He stayed there 4. We got to get over that Deion leading Jackson State stuff. He did what he had to do. He brought exposure to the HBCU.
We got to stop making excuses. That press conference with that reporter asked a question, that was unprofessionalism at the highest of levels. Why nobody check in for that? When I went to school, when I went to college, I'm going to use this as an example. When I went to college and I got on the radio and I did my radio show, my mindset was, it was about me. I'm going there to drop off a legacy that, when I come to this school, I'm going to be the face of the radio station, which ended up becoming true because there was this guy, salute to this guy who was before me. He was there before me, Danny Boot. He was the face of the radio station. I was like, listen, when he's done, I'm going to take his spot. Okay. And I did that. It wasn't about enhancing the school's legacy. I didn't paint that picture. I didn't paint that narrative. Oh, I'm here to save the school. No, the school was here before I came and it's here after I left and graduated, right? I didn't paint that narrative. But when you talk about Deion Sanders, right, the narrative that was being painted that he didn't really shun down was that he was the HBCU savior. And when he left the HBCU to seek PWI opportunity to enhance his individual coaching career, he came back when the NFL did not take no HBCU students and draft them. He said that the NFL needs to draft HBCU students, but you left the HBCU.
What does that?
So at the end of the day,
what do the two have to do with each other, though?
It has a lot to do because you got to practice what you preach.
No, they don't. Leel,
that's like me. That's like me saying that black families need to come together, but I date a snow bunny.
Well, you can date whoever you want. Look, Leel.
Come on, Trump's the point. I'm the example. How I'm gonna say black families need to be together, but I date a snow bunny.
Leel, Deion Sanders spent his own money to upgrade Jackson State's facilities. Come on now. We got to get that break.
We could agree to disagree. All I know is, hey, when you talk about the betterment of your people, it's not always going to be greens, beans, and trees, okay? Because at the end of the day, we have a lot to overcome in this society based on slavery and post-slavery. It's not going to be an easy picnic. That's why people don't do it. That's why people, when they get out the hood, they literally get out the hood and they don't come back to the hood, okay?
I love it. You know
what I mean? I talked about a rapper, I think it was AZ, me and my guy Kenny last night, right? We was talking about him because he was referencing the interview. And he used to live in the neighborhood, the same neighborhood as us. And I looked online, this guy's in Jersey. Okay, now I'm not sure what he does as far as giving back to the community. I don't know the dude personally, but he's in Jersey. Okay, it's not an easy thing to stay the course. Okay, it's not easy putting back into the black community. There's a lot that come with it.
The
Okay?
man never said he was gonna stay there for 5 years, Leo. That's all I'm saying. And he
What I'm
bought
saying is
notoriety
when he
to
left
make
and
it.
he went to that PWI, I'm like, listen, I am not hopping on that train.
He's
Respectfully.
still, but Leo, last thing I'm gonna say, because I know you had to, but he's still affecting young black men's lives, even at
I
Colorado.
mean, look,
Come on, man.
like I said, time will tell, brother. All I know is Ryan Garcia is not a guy that's a role model.
Leo,
But you heard what he said about black people?
I love you though. I love you, man.
You heard what he said about black people, though, right? The racist tirade he went on, Ryan Garcia. Look that up.
Well, and Ryan Garcia clearly got some issues. I agree with you.
And the dude defended him. Okay. After that. So hey,
Hey Zay, he hated some Deion. No, come on.
nah, listen, I don't hate Deion is a legend. Deion Sanders is a legend. Mike
Hey,
Tomlin is a
man.
legend. But at the
Hey.
end of the day, the thing with our people that I don't like is that we look at one individual and we don't look at things from like a bigger perspective. For example, Mike Tomlin, he has won in the past. He's not winning playoff games. That could be another African-American job right there to a qualified African-American coach. Remember when they brought in Brian Flores, right? And Brian Flores should have got fired. He could have been the Tomlin successor.
But stop it, Zay. Stop it, man.
No, I'm just being honest with you. Okay. Look. It's like playing the game. Okay, it's like playing the game. When I was, and this is my last point in my last story, an example, right? Because I live off examples, right? Life is a test and a lesson, right? We learn, and that's how we adapt to life, is what we go through, right? So I remember, back in my grandmother's house, used to be all my cousins there, and it was one PlayStation and 2 controllers, right? And everybody's lined up to play the daggone game, right? But guess what? When you lose, for example, we playing Grand Theft Auto, you die, or we playing Madden and you lose, you hand the controller to the next person so they can get on the controller and they can show what they got. That's the logic here. When it comes to the Mike Tomlin situation, you got qualified African-American individuals.
Man, stop it.
Okay.
This man has never had a losing season.
Okay. But like I said, we get caught up with the one individual. That's our problem. We look at Martin Luther King instead of looking at the movement. When Martin Luther King died, what happened? The movement stopped.
Hey, Leo, when they make the movie, I'm going to see you, man. I ain't gonna tell you.
No, listen, my movie is gonna be great, man.
Hey, y'all make sure y'all have me back. I love this stuff.
Nah, definitely. It was good having you on, Lee Jones, and I'm looking forward to the next one, man.
Good seeing you again,
Plug yourself in before you leave, man. How could my listeners listen to your show?
Hey, my show is After the Buzzers. It's on ISF Production. Y'all holler at your boy, man. We do the same thing. I'm gonna have Zay and Leel on there as well, because hey, we gotta support each other in doing this. But
absolutely.
After the Buzzers Sports Podcast on ISF Productions. Check us out. We're on Sundays at 6 p.m. Central Time, and we love to have you as an audience, man. Guys, y'all got a great show, and I love to be back anytime.
Definitely. I mean, a near 3-hour show, Zay. It was loaded. We topped last week. Didn't think we could do that, but we did. And I'm looking forward to the week after.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.